In today's video, I'm going to show you how you can create this kinetic type animation inspired by Pixrate. This kinetic type animation is very easy, but it has a few tricks that I highly suggest you to watch this video until the end. As always, a huge shout out to Pixrate for his amazing works to the community. Now let's start. Alright, so here we are inside of Adobe After Effects and we have this composition and we have this text be bold. So the composition is set on 9020 by 972, the frame rate is set on 24 frames per second. And on the first step, what I need to do is that I need to create a squash and a stretch for this animation. Now, unlike the other videos where I usually use the path animation, this time we want to use the animate menu inside of the Adobe After Effects. And the cool thing about this trick is that you can now change the text and do it with different types of text. So what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to start with the text, and then in animate menu, I'm just going to select a scale. Now I'm going to turn off the chain option. I'm going to increase the text, let's say for like 250. So this will cover the entire composition that we have in here. And now what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to open the range selector and I'm going to animate the offset from -100 to, let's say, 2 seconds for amount of hundreds. So we will have this animation. Okay, this is good. Now what I'm going to do is that I'm just gonna select these layers, and in motion tools I'm just gonna hold Alt and I'm gonna click on the loop expression. So this will basically create a loop expression that doesn't really stick to the timeline. So whenever if I change it, for example, to this, as you see, the loop will not change even if I change it to this. So, and this is why I have used this expression now. Now on the next step, we need to change a few settings. So as you see right now, the movement is a bit linear. So what I'm going to do is that I'm just gonna, let's say now let's just quickly push the offset to 2 seconds. Now what I'm going to do is that I'm just gonna open the advanced menu, and in here what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to change the shape from square to smooth. So as you see now, we will have a squash and stretch, but we can even take this further and animate it better by going into add menu, and this is really important, not the animate menu, add menu. And then in selector, I'm just gonna add another range selector as well. So what I'm going to do is that I'm just gonna again open the range selector 2, and this time I'm just gonna animate it, for example, from -100 again to, let's say, 100 again. And let's just apply the same expression in here. I'm gonna paste it, and this time I'm just gonna offset it for 1 second. And let's go towards the advanced menu and let's change the shape from square to smooth. So as you see, we will have something like this. Okay, this is good. We can just set the beginning of the time indicator in here and to here almost. So this will be our comp area. As you see, it looks way better. Now what I'm going to do on the next step, I'm just going to create a new composition. This time I'm just going to set it on 9020 by 9020. The duration is too long. Let's just reduce it to maximum 10 seconds. And let's hit OK. Now what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to bring the be bold text in here. And let's just rescale it down to 90%. This will good. Now on the next step, what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to add a bit more action by adding a CC power pin effect. Now what I'm going to do, for example, in here, I'm just going to increase the top, let's say top left to -500, and let's just increase down the top one, let's say to 1500. So this will look good. Let's just decrease it a bit down. I think around here should be good. I'm happy with this one. So we can just close the gap a bit for the text, something like this. And I'm gonna set up some keyframes in here, and I'm gonna go into 1 second, which is in here, and I'm just gonna reverse the CC power pin. Well, to do that, what I'm going to do is that I'm just gonna, you know, let's select the pins so we can see them better. We can just use some rulers if that allows us. So I'm just going to set one in here and one in here. So this will allow us to manipulate it precisely. So what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to select the power pins, and I'm going to set this one in here, and I'm going to set this one in here, and then I'm just going to set this one on top and this one on bottom. So this was easy. And then we can clear the guides like this. And then what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to press U, and I'm going to go towards the 2 seconds, and I'm going to finish the loop like this. And we can just add a loop out expression, and we can copy this expression and we can paste it for others as well. So this will be the loop out, but as you see, the movement is a bit linear. So let's just set the easing on 75%. Now we just need to find the best time. So this will be the beginning, and of course, again, around here should be fine, I guess. Okay, this seems good. Now on the next step, we need to work on the color and the texture. So what I'm going to do is that I'm just gonna let's just quickly add a bit texture to the text. So I'm just gonna open the B-Bold text, and let's just add a fastbox blur effect. I'm gonna set the blurriness to 3, and then what I'm going to do is that I'm just gonna add a curves effect, and I'm just gonna change the alpha channel like this. Okay, this seems good. Now let's get back to and let's just change the quality. Now let's create a new composition, and I'm gonna call it main, and I'm gonna bring this one in here. Let's just call it 0.1. This will be better. And then what I'm going to do is that I'm just gonna add a background. So this will be our background animation. Now on the next step, what we can do is that we're gonna add the echo effect, and let's just change the echo time to 0.005, and let's just increase the number of copies to 300, and let's just turn down the decay to, let's say, around 0.91. So we will have, as you see, this shadow around our main text. Now it is time to work on the coloring. So I'm just gonna add a colorama effect. Now I'm just gonna open the input, and let's just change the get phase from the intensity to alpha. This will be good. Now let's just go towards the output cycle, and I'm gonna select, for example, a solarized red. However, let's just change the color to something like this. And let's open the masking, and let's just turn off the composite over the layers. So this will be our main colorama effect. Now I'm just gonna duplicate this one. I'm gonna remove the effect by pressing Ctrl plus Shift plus E, and then I'm just gonna add a fill effect. So we can now change the fill effect. So I'm just gonna use a sort of a yellowish color, and then this will be our effect. So as you see, now on the next step, what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to add adjustment layer, and let's just add a noise HLS, and let's just change the type to grain, and let's just give it a 10%. rain, something like this. That is good. Now on the next step, we can even take this texture further by adding a new layer, and I'm just gonna call it dust. And let's just add a fractal noise effect, and let's just change the fractal type to swirly, and then we can just increase the contrast to, for example, 300, and let's just set the brightness to 50, and then I'm just going to go towards the transform. Let's just also increase the scale to 250, and then we can add the expression on the evolution, so we can add the post-rise time, so this will slow down the frame rate. So I'm just going to add 12, and then we can generate the dust by pressing Shift plus Enter and adding a random seed expression. And lastly, we can just turn this into black by adding an invert effect, so we will have dust simply by like this. And now we can just change the mode to add, and this will be our final animation. So here we are at the end of this video, and I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave out a like and subscribe to the channel, as it would help me out a lot for the future content. Thank you so much. Goodbye.